I'm Jenna Olivier, and I've been working in the Powell Gray lab with Dr. Bethany Powell Gray and her students this summer. And my project, the title is RNA aptamer multimerization using enzymatic ligation. That's communicating a lot in just a few words, but I'll go through it step by step. So first of all, what are aptamers? They're still kind of up and coming. They've been around for a while, but a lot of people don't know what they are yet. They're small DNA or RNA oligonucleotide strands, usually about 8 to 30 bases in length. And due to their unique folding, they become highly selective for whatever target you want to select an aptamer for. So they function a lot like how antibodies can function with that kind of specificity. And we can select an aptamer for just about any target that we want. And so one issue with in our lab, we use the aptamers to create tunable drugs and imaging agents to treat various different diseases. But one issue that we run into with this is the small size of the aptamers, which has a lot of benefits like tissue penetration, and it's a very good thing, but it comes at the cost of getting filtered out by your kidneys very, very quickly. So the aptamer drugs have very short half-lives. And usually, what you would do about a situation like this would be pegylation. So you add high molecular weight polyethylene glycol to the drug, and it's just kind of bulk that makes it heavier so that the half-life increases. And it is effective at this, but the PEG can build up in patients' bodies, and in some cases, it can have very severe side effects as bad as organ toxicity and fatality in really severe cases. So our lab was interested in bulking up our aptamers without using PEG. And the way we wanted to do this was to use an enzyme to take two of one of our more promising aptamers we've been working with called E3. And we wanted to use this enzyme to just link them together and make a homodimer so that then we're doubling the weight and thus increasing the half-life without adding anything new into the mix. So it was a very simple procedure. You just mix all of the recommended parts into a little PCR tube and you incubate in a thermal cycler and you clean it up, and then you're done. And we would test it on page gels to see whether or not we had our dimer. So an example of how our tests went was we would have a ladder in the first well, and then we would have our starting material all by itself in the second well for reference. And in the third well, we would have whatever cleaned product we got from the attempted procedure. And so hopefully we would see a little bit of starting material and something about double the weight, a little higher than that, indicating the dimer. Here you can see the very first attempted ligation that I did, and the text box is kind of in the way, but we should have seen our dimer in between the 75 band and the 100 band, which are the two higher ones that are marked, and there is absolutely nothing in the product columns. So these were the standard recommended conditions, and it was unsuccessful. So from here, we did a lot of troubleshooting. 18 unsuccessful reactions followed this one. We varied the concentrations of just about everything that goes into the mixture. We varied the identities of the aptamer. They were called the donor and the acceptor, the two parts that you're linking together. We varied their identities. We tried adding a spacer in between. We tried removing that spacer. We tried a whole lot of different things. And finally, what we ended up learning, we reached out to customer support from the manufacturer and said, what the heck is going on? And they told us that our enzyme struggles with 2' fluoro modifications, which our aptamer was full of. So we do use modified RNA for our aptamers because it increases the stability. And this enzyme specifically has been used for modified DNA and RNA in the past, and it has not been an issue. So we didn't think it would be a problem, but apparently one of the specific modifications we have did cause our issue. So support recommended we use 5 times the amount of enzyme and we incubate overnight, which we did, and we got this product out of it. So it's very faint there, but we do have a little bit of product showing right about where we expect it to be on this gel here. So it's not the most efficient reaction because using that much enzyme is very pricey. But now that we know where the problem was, we can move forward and start to optimize this reaction. So that is our first next step, and then also exploring the use of alternative enzymes that might bypass the issue with the 2' modification. Once we can optimize this reaction and create more of our dimer, we want to use ion exchange chromatography to isolate it, and then we can begin doing cell viability assays to make sure that our aptamer is still binding with the affinity that it had before even in dimer form. And then from there, we could make heterodimers to increase binding avidity, and even larger multimers would be even great, increase that half-life even more. And that's about where the project is for now. Yeah. Thank you.
See, it's not as scary as y'all thought.